Organizations might implement change directly before the workforce is psychologically ready. Some employees may be reluctant to let go of their old ways of working or may feel uncertain about the new culture, resulting in resistance to change. There are many signs of resistance, and some may not be seen as easy to spot as others. Some signs noted by research are specific emotions such as anger and anxiety, and behaviors such as lack of involvement, excessive complaining, passive behavior, and decreases in performance and even morale. There are multiple reasons for resistance to change, and understanding these reasons can help inform on how to manage it. Previous research has found 3 main categories of reasons for resistance to change. First, for personal reasons. They can be low psychological resiliency, uncertainty about how the change will influence one's own work, or the change does not simply make sense to the resisting individual. Second, organizational reasons, such as unskilled leaders who are not trusted, and negative organizational culture or a top-down control system of organizational processes and structures. Finally, reasons related to change management can influence resistance. For example, unclear communication about goals and processes related to the change, lack of transparency, lack of overall workforce involvement, and lack of training of the individuals leading the change processes. Importantly, resistance to change is a natural part of the process. Some individuals view change as a threat, others as a stressor, and some welcome it with a curious mind. All reactions are welcome. Some researchers suggest that the way leaders react to and view change resistance is fundamental to dealing with it. For example, when leaders perceive change resistance as a threat, they can become competitive and defensive and communicate even less as a response. Paying attention to one's own reactions and understanding the behavioral outcomes, especially the negative ones, will ultimately deliver a better understanding of social situations and increase the likelihood of a better functioning work environment. Thus, not only understanding the reasons behind change resistance, but also managing one's own reactions towards resistance are relevant first steps in resistance management. Professor Ford and his team suggest that in their attempts to manage resistance, leaders or change agents should first ask themselves 2 questions. 1. Why am I seeing this behavior as resistance? And 2. If I viewed the resistance as feedback, what could I learn about how to refine the change effort? Moreover, Professor Ford has suggested 5 ways leaders can use resistance to influence change in a more productive manner and attempt to view resistance as a resource. 1. Boost awareness. If you are the manager of the change effort, chances are that you have had more time to adjust and think through how the change will impact you and your work than most of your colleagues. Moreover, especially in larger organizations, many people do work that you are not aware of and therefore know about. Thus, change will influence these people, their work, and the organizations in ways that you can't see or even know about. Therefore, it is important to keep communication open and listen to the early signals of resistance when implementing change programs to become aware of these influences that are unknown to you. 2. Return to purpose. People who are not involved in implementing change programs need to have a clear understanding of why change is necessary and how it relates to their overall purpose of the organization. Thus, resistance can be seen as an invitation to return the discussion toward the purpose of change. 3. Change the change. Resistance can lead to better results. It is a good idea to keep in mind that people who are initially vocal about their objections to change are typically genuinely interested in having things done the right way, and they have had enough experience with the organization to spot possible shortcomings in a change program. 4. Build participation and engagement. Be mindful that the workforce feels that they are heard in their resistance. Genuinely listening to employees' concerns and the reasons for their pushback can help build participation and engagement with the change efforts. 5. Complete the past. Change efforts often fail, and employees may be reminded of past failures when new changes are proposed, and thus resist, as they don't want to go through another failed change process. Understanding the history of changes and carefully listening to current resistance may help to unpack some history that can hinder the organization from moving forward. For example, unacknowledged failures in past change efforts, questionable ethical incidents, and negative cultural tendencies can be invisible backdrops for new developments. Thus, many tools related to resisting change involve mindsets, both those of the change agent and those of the resistors. Having an open conversation about changes and feeling secure expressing one's opinion, even if it is opposing, is a relevant part of a healthy culture. Thus, prior to change efforts, it is important to ensure that the workforce feels psychologically safe. Psychological safety refers to an environment where individuals feel safe expressing themselves, sharing ideas, asking questions, and admitting mistakes without fear of humiliation, retaliation, and negative consequences. Harvard professor Amy Edmondson has highlighted that psychological safety isn't about being comfortable all the time. It's about embracing the discomfort. Psychological safety is crucial for fostering open communication, collaboration, innovation, and building trust within organizations, which are all important tools for successful change management. It is good to remember that much work needs to be done to ensure that the workforce is psychologically ready for change. And this work also needs to be targeted towards the very top of the organization. Understanding one's own mindset and reactions prior to rolling out change efforts can warrant a more smoother process of managing resistance.